Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm out here just fixing to take a look at everything, and I got an ant on me already because I'm standing still too long in one spot. But anyway, here we go. We're going to garden and the yard after all this heavy rain. Oh, look at there. Pretty red cardinal landed on the bird feeder. The rock garden's looking good. Everything's still blooming. It didn't completely flatten out my blanket flowers or my roses. We got sunflowers growing here beside the carport. They're not very big yet. But my blanket flowers out here are still looking pretty good. Listen to the chickens, y'all. Listen. And I got something right here. I don't remember the name of them, but it's getting ready to bloom. It's like the one on the other side that was the bright pink. But there's two big buds right there. I had a bunch of those in this rock garden, but a lot of them didn't make it through the drought last summer and the summer before. Yeah, all this rain, it's washed all the ants up to the top of the ground. So I'm going to have to go back around and put out more ant poison. But my mum's right there looking good. Look at that. Right here with the sunflower. Poor sunflower's about to flop over. But the mums look good right there. It's a pretty color. Sunflowers here. And mums, they haven't bloomed, but they're getting ready to. They got a bunch of little buds on them. And my rose bush, it survived in the ground. It's the only one that survived in the ground along this property line. And I've got zinnias. That's what those little ones are down in there. That's zinnias that seed fell from last year. Sunflowers. The mums in this one died, but I got a 4 o'clock right there. That's a 4 o'clock that came up. And I got stuff over it. But that's a 4 o'clock. It dropped seeds last year into the pot. And the seeds come up this year. Right along with the sunflowers. And the sunflowers, poor things, are flopped over. I don't know if these two sunflowers are going to make it. They're not finding much water. And my perpetual spinach is looking good. I need to come out here and harvest it. Marigolds. I got, the marigolds here, marigolds there. I've got moonflowers here. I see a moonflower coming up right there. Those are volunteers from the plants that was there, I think, last year. And here's the big rock garden. My moonflowers are not as pretty this year. I think there's too many other flowers growing in there with them or something. The only ones that came back are the biggest ones on this side. I've got some really small ones on the other side, but they're kind of hidden away in all the wildflowers that have come up in there. And I see I got morning glory coming up. We don't want that in there. That is going to kill it'll destroy all the other plants. And it's wrapped around that, so I can't break it. That morning glory, the wild morning glory, the vine is so strong you can't break it with your hand. You got to take something and cut it out. Got a pretty moonflower. And I got another ant on my foot. I should have known better than to wear these sandals out here. But see, the morning glory's got started in there. It's going to take over everything in this rock garden. And I tried pulling it out last year, but you can't get every bit of it out. And I see there's some already coming up. All this rain. And this sunflower's looking real good. It likes it in this pot with that mum. And the mum's getting ready to bloom too because it's got buds. See all the buds on it? And the sunflowers here, they must be finding water because they like it here. They're growing pretty good. Well, these three are anyway. And this little one here is trying. And then I got this sunflower here getting ready to bloom. It looks pretty healthy. And the mum here, oh my goodness, it's about to take over the pot, isn't it? And that's basically what I wanted it to do. I wanted mums in my pots, but sunflowers have come up too. And there's a little buddy this morning. Hey, little buddy. Hey there, little buddy. And here's this bird bath. I'm probably never going to get it out here and finish this. And it's starting to bloom. See the little flowers right there opening. And then I got all these sunflowers here in this pot. They're starting to open now. Ain't that right, little buddy? Huh? Is that right, little buddy? He walks right with me. And this tomato bush, I've got to come out here and try to tie it up a little bit. It's starting to fall out of the pot. And I've got a tomato cage in there, but you know how they do. They grow everywhere but where you want them to grow. Plants have a mind of their own, but look at there. I got a nice looking tomato in there. My pepper plants are starting to grow, but I think those are bell pepper. I don't have but one or two hot peppers. And there's my pepper plants. They're starting to grow. I need to transplant all these. But they're bell pepper. And this is Roma tomatoes. You know, and I still got some coming up from the seeds in here. There's one there. One here under my hand. So I need to pull those other two out before long and get them transplanted somewhere else. But there I've got eggplant. That's Casper eggplant. That's the white one. I'll have to transplant those. I've got bell peppers here. Eggplant there. Another of the white eggplants. And I've got kale here, miniature kale. My aloe vera. My flowers up here in my pot. That's a pepper. I'm pretty sure it's a bell pepper. Marigolds, I could put me a bell pepper in there. And I wanted to show you. Remember here a while back, I started rooting this cactus. It's rooted. Look at there. It's got a little growth spurt on it. it's putting out another cactus leaf or limb or whatever you call them, pods. So it's rooted, y'all. It is definitely rooted. This rain needs to stop before it rots it, but it's rooted right there. So I've got me a sticker-free cactus, and that's what that is. That's what I've always been wanting. Sticker-free cactus, and I got one. And later on, I'll be able to break parts of it off and root it and have more. But there you go. It's easy, just that easy. If you got time and patience to wait for it to root. A sunflower there. Got sunflowers all along here. And again, my aloe vera here. And my aloe vera here, look at there. Look at all the pups it's putting up. There's one there. There's a pup. There's a pup here. So it's almost time to have to divide that up again. Because I've got 5 or 6 pups in there. And my wandering Jew is starting to grow. So that tells me that it's rooted. Because it usually waits till it roots good before it starts to grow, and it's dusty right now. But yeah, it's growing, so I know it's rooted. My poor gladiolus here trying to open, but the wind has knocked them over. I need to stake them up with something. Get one of my tomato stakes and put up there and tie it up. And my rose bush here. It's looking good. My bearded iris didn't do real good this year. They did bloom, but just 1 or 2 blooms on them. My rose bush. And here's my sunflowers I planted out here. There's just 3 of them. And I think since the sunflowers live so good here, I might take my rosemary. Not rosemary. I'm trying to think of the name of it. The bush that's at the corner of the shed. Rose of Sharon. Because it's too hot in that spot for it. So I'm thinking of taking it and moving it from there over here, right where that biggest sunflower is. But I'm not going to do it right now. I'll wait till the sunflowers die down and then I'll move it. Rose bushes. My rose bush. And look at all these sunflowers, marigolds, roses. I got 2 rose bushes that survived. One of them's down in here, but it's living, so when the wildflowers die off, the rose bush will be there. And I forget the name of this. It's not a mint. I thought it was one of my mints, but it's not. But I don't remember the name of it. But look at that pretty purple flower. But see, my rose of Sharon, it gets too hot on it out here because it's in the sun all day long. So I'm thinking if I put it in the ground over there beside the house, that it might do better. My tree collards or kale. I've got squash and stuff grown here. I've got peppers. Sunflower. Wildflowers right there in this patch. My pumpkins. Look at there. That pumpkin's looking good. So far, I've only seen 2. And that one's getting ready to turn colors. To show that it's right, because they don't get very big. They're the little pumpkin pies. The one most people make their pies out of. And that was supposed to be my, I don't remember what I planted in there, but it was like a vine with flowers on it. And I ended up with this marigold and a tomato plant coming up voluntarily. So I guess they're going to grow all together. My strawberries are looking good. Look at that. And here's Lucky this morning. Good morning. Good morning. He says, he loves to scratch. But yeah, there's my strawberries. Aren't they looking good? The plants are growing. They're producing flowers and strawberries. Look at there. There's a strawberry that's not ripe yet. Oh, I see a ripe one over here. So I guess these discs are working. They're helping keep the birds away from my strawberries. Look at there. Look at that. The birds didn't get that one. Isn't that pretty? I'm eating that. Mmm. Oh my God. That's the strawberries I'm used to eating. When you pick them right out of the field. That's good, y'all. A homegrown strawberry. And here's more of our mystery plant. I don't know what this is. If it's a pumpkin, they're going to have a heck of a time producing pumpkins on this trellis. And I did have 2 or 3 little popcorn plants come up from the popcorn seed I planted. So we may end up with at least 1 ear of popcorn seed that we can see will pop. You know, I harvested all of my squash, and I got another one started down in there. You see it right down there? Well, right there. And I got another one started down in there. So I'll be picking more, and then they're still blooming, so. And I've been meaning to come out here and harvest turnip tops and cook them. But I'm about to wait too long. They're starting to turn yellow and look bad. I need to go ahead and get them. My cucumbers, I've harvested all I saw that were big enough. But see, they're putting out cucumbers. There's 3 right there. They're not big enough to pick yet. Yeah, I think I picked all that were big enough the other day. I came out here. And look at the strawberries here. After the rain. Oh, and my goodness, the celery. I'm going to have to take my son some celery when I go over there, because it needs to be cut. I've only cut 1 bunch. Oh, goodness, I found another strawberry, y'all. Look at that. Look at that. I'm eating strawberries for breakfast this morning. That's good. I didn't even know for sure if they were going to produce strawberries this year. And look at there. The lavenders never come up. So I think it was bad seed. I even put some of them in a paper towel, a dampened paper towel. Put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer the way the instructions said that you could do. Leave them in there, not in the freezer, but in the refrigerator for several days, and mine had been in there for a week. They still haven't sprouted. I don't think the seed's any good. But look at my white tomato onions. And I got a red one right there. I might pull that red one. That'll be good for a salad. And the tomato here, it's starting to bloom, and it's laying against the shed over there because it's got so top heavy. What? Huh? What, Lucky? What? Huh? Huh? He's talking to me. And I need to go ahead and pull those two onions. Look at how big they are. But they say you don't pull your onions till the tops die. And mine are still living, so those things are going to keep growing. I don't know how big they're going to be by the time I pull them. And all these walking onions still here. Getting bugs on me. My tomatoes here are growing like crazy. You know, that's in the spot where the banana tree was. I didn't buy another one. I said, well, it can't make it through the winter months out here, so I gave up on trying to have the banana tree. Grows great in the summer, but it only takes 1 or 2 freezing cold nights if it gets down low enough that it freezes the root. And the banana tree that was there survived all winter, right up to the last 2 frosts, the freezes we had. The plant started growing. It was a couple of inches tall. We had one of the freezes. It killed the plant back. A couple of weeks went by. It came up again. It was about 2 inches tall. We had another hard freeze, the last hard freeze of the season, and it killed it back again, and it's never come back. So that last frost or freeze was what killed the root. So I know from that they're not going to make it through the winter here. It'll make it through the winter, but then it's going to... Oh, I got a bug on me. It'll finally freeze the end of the season, so... And there's all my Roma tomatoes. It's got some little ones on them and a bunch of blooms. See those little tomatoes? Look at him. Laid right down in front of me. And there's little Buddy. I tell you, they pal around with me in the garden when I'm out here. They usually hear me talking and they come running. Dog next door's having a fit. My shade cloth is dropped. But I put the shade cloth up trying to save these 2 tomato plants back here from the sun that have gotten, you know, the plants have started dying back. But I believe those are the plants that once they start producing their bunches of tomatoes like that, they'll start dying off. And then you got to replant to get any more. But see all the tomatoes on there? I'm going to leave those orange looking ones on there for a while longer because they're not ripe yet. But look how the plant's doing. Now it's getting morning sun right now, which it needs. But then it should be mostly shaded this afternoon. And see this one? I mean, look how the plant's doing. Still got tomatoes, but the plant's dying. I got a yellow squash in there. And look at all my tomato plants here under all the shade cloth. Most of them are Roma tomatoes, but there's a lot of them in the totes that are the indeterminate tomatoes, which get so tall. And by the time you think to cut them off, look at all the blooms. And the blooms usually come at the top of the plant, so you don't want to cut off your tomatoes. But I got tomatoes this year like I had peppers before. Oh, there's a pretty butterfly. But see, all the blooms are up at the top. I got some pretty tomatoes down in this one. One down there, and there's one up here. There's two good sized ones in there that I see so far. And see, the blooms here is going at the top, so I'm going to have to tie those up. They have that many tomatoes at the top, it's going to be so heavy the whole plant will fall over. And my onions here are looking real good. They've all come to the top of the ground, and look how big some of them are getting. That's a Roma tomato right there. And I put this shade cloth overhead. This is the last one I just put up the other day, to try to shade this butternut squash, because the sun was killing the plant. And it had already produced a squash. There it is, right there. Butternut squash. But the plant was dying because the sun was getting too hot on it. So I said, well, I got to save that. I want me some butternut squash, at least one. My Roma tomatoes has got a couple of tomatoes on there. This one up here's got 2 or 3. They're not big enough yet, but they're getting there, and there's some here. I had a lot of the Roma tomatoes because, you know, that was the type of plant that tomato that I cut, sliced, and put in that pot to root them from the seed. And that's how many Roma tomato plants I've got. I've got them spread all over the yard. There's Lucky back there. He likes wallering in the wood chips. He kind of likes the wood chips. And my okra just not doing good this year. I got a couple that came up, but I don't know if they're going to do anything. This is all that came back from last year right here in this planter. This one's growing real good. And I put me a cabbage over there because my perpetual spinach didn't come back up. And see, my wandering Jew is starting to grow. So all of my wandering Jew has rooted, y'all. It's rooted and it's going to grow. And it's going to look real good from now on in, because look at all the new growth on it. It's all rooted. Thanks to my subscriber for sending it to me. And there's my other tote of white onions. See, I got one there and one here. Oh, I didn't see those 2 tomatoes down there. I was on the other side and I didn't see those. But I got tomatoes started here. I've got lots of these tomatoes here. Look at this. Look at that. This is one of the indeterminate. It only gets so big and then it stops, but it puts out a lot of tomatoes. Look right there. Totally full of tomatoes. One big one right up there at the top. Look at there. One right there. My rose bushes back here are looking real good. Oh, and I wanted to pull me a carrot or two. I haven't pulled any carrots yet. But look at all the blooms on this. I'm going to have to tie it up. Tie it up to the to the trellis. And look at there. Eating me a tomato and strawberries for breakfast this morning. And that's the color of these. They're golden. They're the golden cherry tomatoes. So when they're orange like that, that's their color. That means they're ripe. Got some over here too. I got one that fell down in there. I'll leave it. It might produce seeds for next year. Since it's already down there. Look at all of them. And as little as this plant is, I've got yellow squash. Little ones. But I wanted to pull a couple of these carrots. And see how big they might have gotten, because I can see them. You can see the orange in there. So I got carrots, y'all. Look at there. They're kind of stubby, but they're carrots. They're the little carrots. Look at that one. I'm not going to pull any more of them. I think that'll be enough to go in a stew or something. I'm going to let the rest of them grow. See if they'll get any bigger. Look at there. I got carrots. They're not real long, but they're carrots. And if I'd have left them, they might have got longer. I don't know. My cilantro's going to seed because I haven't had enough tomatoes to make salsa. But I may make some before all this completely goes to seed. And if you break the seeds off the top, it'll keep it alive longer. Just like you do your basil. You know, it'll go to seed on you if you're not careful. See, it's going to seed right there. It's got the little flowers. We don't want it to do that. When it starts doing that, it'll produce those seeds, and then the plant will die because it'll think its work is done for the season. And then I won't have any more cilantro. And there's my kohlrabi. I've been meaning to move this somewhere else, and I haven't. And coleus, the first year, y'all, that I've had coleus come up from seed. And this was a mixture of seed. It was all different kinds of coleus together, all the different colors. So I'm going to have coleus this year. And it's been getting too hot and dry on my lettuce up here. Let me get my carrots. And my peas, my snow peas, it got too hot on them. So they're dying off. But these other foot-long beans are growing like crazy. And there's me another ear of corn in there. You see the silks at the top of it. I don't know how big it'll get. I don't know if it'll mature. And there's another one. But we'll see, I guess. And I got an ear of corn there just started. And look at all the little tomatoes. I'm gonna put my... What are you doing? Huh? Put my onion and my carrots right there, and I'll pick them up when I come back. But this poor tomato plant is burning up. And this one's already produced a nice sized tomato down there. And here's this thing. I just don't know what it is, y'all. I thought I saw a little green bulb on it the other day. But I've been looking for it ever since, and I've not seen it. So I don't remember which plant it was on. It looked like it started out like a pumpkin, like a little green ball that was on the other plant over there, the pumpkin. And look at my tomatoes here, y'all. I got 3 right back there. I got some on this plant. And these are the bigger tomatoes. They're not just the little cherry tomatoes. My basil. My tomato plant I had to tie up. My tomato plant back there I'll have putting out tomatoes. Thank goodness they're not all ripening at one time. I've already got more vegetables on my kitchen counter than I'm going to be able to eat at one time. I'm going to have to start freezing some. And I've been meaning to put some compost to this pot because I don't think my tomatoes in this pot's getting enough nutrients. The ones over here are getting it like crazy and they're growing. But for some reason, the small ones in this pot, they need some compost. I've got bugs flying around on me. And look here at my bell pepper. My first bell pepper plant that's gotten big enough to produce anything. And I'm liable to take these CDs down because it's doing the same thing it did before. Look at that. Maybe it needs another plant or something close by to help fertilize the berries or the flowers. I don't know. But look, that's what it's done every year and produced nothing. But if it's these poison berries, I don't probably want them anyway. I mean, I would try to make jelly or jam out of them where I cook them, but I'm not sure I would even want to try. Ain't that right, Crybaby? Not Crybaby, but Little Buddy. My previous cat was Crybaby, and I call Little Buddy Crybaby once in a while. But I got tomatoes all throughout in those pots. I've got basil back there, 2 pots of basil. My tomatoes here. And I see my okra's growing pretty good here in these cinder blocks. But they're in partial shade most of the day. And all of those didn't even come up because I put an okra seed in every block. I've got a fly won't leave my hand alone. But yeah, I got to put some more compost to these tomato plants back here or they're not going to do much. And my cabbage, y'all, look at there. It's determined this year it wants to head up. And I've been debating whether I want it to head up or not. I got stuff out of the trees falling in them. Getting in the leaves. Look at there. I got 2 of them in that pot. Look at these back here. They're There's 2 in this pot. I try to only have 1, but sometimes 2 got by me. But it's looking good. All of my tomatoes are putting out blooms, look. Except for those scrawny plants back here that need compost or something, I don't know. And this one broke off, the wind broke it, so I stuck it down here in the dirt to see if I could root it. That's a Roma tomato here. That's eggplant. These are all Roma tomatoes. I planted them here so they wouldn't get so tall, so I wouldn't have to worry so bad about staking them up. And my hosta. It needs compost too. But something's been eating at it. Something's been eating at the leaf. I got eggplant in here. And it looks like some marigolds that came up from seed from last year. Got eggplant here. And tomatoes here. And these were all, believe it or not, volunteer tomatoes that came up in this from a tomato that dropped from the plant last year. And it's got blooms. So it's going to have tomatoes pretty soon. Ain't that right, Lucky? Huh? He follows me everywhere. Yeah. He'll talk to you. And my daylilies, look. They're all fixing to bloom. This fly won't leave me alone, y'all. I mean, look at the buds on them. All of them have buds. And I got one open right here. Isn't that a pretty flower? I've got all different colors, but I think all of these are this orange color, which I think is beautiful. Look at that. That's where these kitty cats basically get their water from. It's from the bird baths. I keep them a bowl of water out on the porch with their food, but they prefer to come out here in the bird baths and get water. I guess because it's sitting here for several days. And they say the chemicals die off after the water's been exposed like that for several days. Who's thirsty? Are you thirsty, little buddy? Huh? Are you thirsty? I got all kind of bugs on my feet. Good gracious. He's dying of thirst. Come up for air. Come up for air, little buddy. Goodness. Are you done? Is your belly full of water? Huh? Is your belly full of water? He said, I'm thinking about it. And I have marigolds up here that came up from seed. And I think I had planted a few zinnias, but I don't really see the zinnias. But I had it full of daylilies, and they are opening, see right up there? But the drought killed off the bulbs. I wasn't able to keep them watered enough, and most of the bulbs dried up. But I did have surviving daylilies up here, and they will spread if I can keep those alive. All the daylilies here are getting ready to bloom. Look, they've all put out buds. That's getting ready to bloom. And I don't remember what that is. It's another daylily, but it's a different type of flower. My marigolds. And look at my marigold's got a hitchhiker. In fact, he's got several hitchhikers. There's 2 snails. Look at that. On that marigold plant. Look at there. Get you off of there. I don't know why they go up a marigold plant. They'll kill every flower you got. I got 1 white rose, or yellow rose as I call it. Yellow rose of Texas. I need to put some more banana peelings to it. It loves banana peels. My mums. This is a different type of mum that's in those flower pots. These grow taller and they're purple. And here's the pink rose, and it's bloomed several flowers already. My aloe vera here has got a pup growing right there. And look out here, all the daylilies blooming. And a bunch of them haven't opened yet. Got some back there that's opened. Right there. There. I got gladiolas fixing to have flowers on them too back there. They're almost the color of the Indian blanket flowers. But I had yellow ones, I had white ones. I had all different colors of them out here. Isn't that pretty? And I forget the name of that, but it's got big buds on it. See at the top, there's big buds. They're fixing to open. That's like these here. Like this one. It looks kind of like a daylily, but it gets like a lot bigger. And it has a lot of, it's more of a pinkish red than a burgundy, like my daylilies are. You can see those up there better from here. Let me get a normal view so it don't spin you around and make you all dizzy. And see, I got all these fixing to open too. Those little buds. These buds. Isn't that right, little buddy? Huh? You think everything's okay? But I had cleaned my walk off so nice. And then it rained with that blowing wind, and look at it now. It's covered in trash and leaves. Not as bad as it has been at one time, but it's pretty bad. Look where little buddy just went. That's one of his favorite spots, is to get up on the car. He feels like he's up on his perch and he's safe. He's away from dogs and everything else up there. And there's Lucky out there on the grass. Listen to the chickens. They're right behind that wooden fence. I like hearing them. Well, I think this is going to conclude my tour of my garden. I got to get busy getting some stuff done. My hollyhocks didn't make it to come back up this year. I planted more seeds in there, but they didn't do much. So I planted some wildflowers in there, the Indian blanket flowers, and I got that potato vine that still is not doing anything. Bugs are eating it up. My clematis. This evergreen bush just took over that pot, and it takes all the nutrients away from the clematis, so it's not letting the clematis grow on this side anymore. If I'd have known that was just a plain evergreen bush, I would have never bought it. But here's this plant, which I forget the name of, but it's the one that had those pretty white flowers on it. And I got a marigold in there, and my peppermint beside it. I may get some coleus started up in my big pot on the patio here on the porch. I don't know. I put a marigold in there, but they're not growing very well. They're strong. They're growing tall and stringy, and I don't like that because they don't get as much sun as they get anywhere else. So. What? What? You gonna talk to me? Huh? You gonna talk to me? You gonna talk? Well, come over here. Y'all hear him talking? He lets out with a something like that. You can barely hear him sometimes. Oh. Oh, and I forgot to show you. I got a sweet potato sprouting. And it's probably going to be too late in the season to plant the sprouts, the plants. But I did some research on it. And they say if you buy a local sweet potato, to get an organic sweet potato, and that's one that will put out plants for you. The slips like that. So I bought a small bag of organic sweet potatoes, and I just stuck one in the pot or the jar to see what it would do. And lo and behold, it's putting me out some sweet potato slips. So we'll plant them somewhere when they come up. Might put them in a pot where I had some of my onions, because I'm going to be pulling onions before too long. My caladiums never came up in this pot, and I filled it full of them. But they did come up, have started coming up down there. So I've got one pot here, and then I've got a small pot of them back there where the green stalk tower is, that I'll probably move somewhere else, put it in a bigger pot. May end up putting it up here, but it seems to like the sun more than what it's getting over here in this pot anyway. And I'm thinking that's might be why the bulbs didn't sprout and come up. You taking it easy after the long walk around the yard? Well, I don't want to make this any longer than I have to, because I know most people don't want to watch a long, drawn-out video. So with the camera on Lucky, see, I keep getting their names mixed up. Little Buddy's still on top of the car way back there. Find him. There he is. He's still up on the top of the car. So with that, I'm going to wish y'all a good day, and we'll see you on the next one. I hope y'all have a blessed day.